Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Motorhead Garage is presented by DragonFireTools.com. We are on the road. We're in Majory. It's in the northeast corner of Ohio. Yes, it's a small town, but there's big goings on here because Comec calls it its headquarters for all of North America. This is where they bring their Italian-made machine tools distributed to all of the United States and Canada. So Ben, for folks who don't know, who is Comec?
So Comec started in 1961 in Italy, and they started building surfacers and some brake lathe equipment and so forth, and they've built to this. They've now built pretty much every machine you would possibly need for rebuilding an engine. The primary market for Comec is the automotive engine rebuilder and some of the smaller light production stuff. That's who would generally buy our equipment. There's a lot of facilities that would turn out cylinder heads that might have our surfacers and equipment in it, or a lot of them are just jobber machine shops, or even some of the high-end, smaller precision engine rebuilders.
We were talking earlier about this machine here. This is the ACF 200. It's a CNC machine. And you told me it's perfect for folks that want to upgrade their machine shop to get a CNC, or also folks looking to start in the business. Why is this a perfect place to start?
If you're an older shop and you have some older equipment, you want to do some updates to the shop, this is definitely the way to go. Being that it's boring and surfacing in one operation, plus it'll do a few other operations that'll help speed up things as far as in the performance side of it, this is definitely the way to go. So the great value of this machine is the fact that you are buying a CNC machine. So you're buying a machine that will bore holes on a given bank. So V8, you would have to roll the block over, but you can do that and program multiple service passes for surfacing and be able to do that and walk away and go to run another machine in your shop while this is working for you. One of the huge benefits as far as the cost goes is this machine is under $100,000.
How easy is this to operate once they get trained up on it?
So the controls on this are pretty basic. There's no G code or anything like that that is normally associated with a lot of the older CNC equipment and things like that. So most shops, I can train guys how to operate this machine in pretty much 2 days.
You mentioned the different functions this machine can do. What's it like to change operations? How easy is that?
So a change-up operation from a boring to a surfacing operation on this machine is substantially quicker than if you had two separate machines. If you had two separate machines, you would literally have to break down your setup, move it to another machine, and completely reset it up. So you could easily spend a half hour, maybe even 45 minutes going from one machine to another if you're running older conventional equipment. When you do a change-up and you have the boring spindle in place, you can do change-ups from sleeve operations to O-ringing in literally a matter of about a minute or two also, which makes it really great because then your setup is just right there. The only change you would have to do is re-zero in your machine for the operation for that given cutting tool.
And what about folks that still don't want to go to a CNC machine? They maybe want to do it the old-fashioned way, the manual way.
That's very common, Dave, too, because one of the things we have is this machine is actually also still made in a manual version, and then we have an even smaller version, the ACF 170, which is another somewhat popular machine that is strictly a manual boring mill as well, and both are very affordable and a great bargain for your machine shop. Another nice thing about the ACF 200 is this is a diesel capacity machine. You could do a diesel work with this too if you needed to.
Comec's not just about boring machines. You've got all kinds of machines here in the showroom and all kinds at Comec US. So what else do you have to offer the folks out there?
So Comec carries a line of all kinds of equipment. We also carry seat and guide equipment, 2 size machines for that, line boring equipment. We have 3 size pressure testers we sell, 3 different size assembly benches for either hydraulic disassembly and assembly of diesel cylinder heads, and some light duty air ones for the assembly of automotive heads. And we have a valve grinding machine as well.
If you are looking to upgrade your shop, maybe add a piece of equipment or get started in the business altogether, ComecUS.com has everything you need to get going at an affordable price. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com, so keep it right here.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, Shade Wagon, throw some shade, and by DragonFireTools.com, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. We love bringing all kinds of great stuff to you each week here in the garage, and we get a lot of requests from folks about stuff they've seen before on the show. This is one from Brian Loans from a few years ago. We think you'll love it, and we know you'll enjoy seeing Brian again.
You know, this F-150 sitting on the left behind me is a great truck. Runs really well, it goes down the road perfectly, it has a lot of life left in it. But there's a problem. It was starting to show some pretty bad signs of rust in the cab corners, and if you've ever owned a pickup truck and you live in a cold weather climate like I do, you know that the cab corners on trucks are basically the first thing to go. Rocker panels also a kind of a quick second behind the cab corners. I'm here with Zach from Quick Covers by OAM, and Zach, you guys have developed kind of an alternative rust repair method for body shops to make repairs on trucks like this that are showing signs of rust. So what am I looking at here?
Yeah, body shops, DIYers, this is a plastic cover. It's molded to mimic the OEM design and really reduce the labor required to make that look new again.
So, you know, in the past and even mostly in the present, you go to a body shop, they look at this, they go, okay, we're gonna cut the whole corner of the cab off, we're gonna replace most of the rocker. This is a much more specialized repair and I would guess more budget friendly.
Definitely. So we started in a body shop and we had the same problem. Customers came in, we quoted them $4,000 or $5,000 to weld in a set of cab corners and rockers, and it just was too expensive for most people. So this is what we call an alternative rust service. We are able to do it for a fraction of the price, and from a body shop's perspective, instead of a week or two in the shop, we can flip this in just a couple days.
Well, that's pretty great. Now, you mentioned it's a plastic cover. Now, when I look at these, I see that it obviously mimics the styling of the truck, but these are body colored right now because you painted them, correct? When someone would buy a set of these, they would not necessarily come the color of the vehicle.
Correct, yeah, they actually come unfinished, so make sure that you use a primer with a adhesion promoter intended for raw plastic, and then a 2-part base coat clear coat.
Got the F-150 behind us. What else do you guys offer?
We've got them for Dodge trucks, we've got them for Chevys, and we're releasing more product lines all the time.
So you started the repair already, so let's walk through the steps of what you've actually done. And obviously you cut the exposed or rusted area out of the corner of the cab, then kind of what happened after that?
Yeah, we want to get rid of all that nasty stuff because it's just going to spread. So we cut out all the rust, we came in with a rust inhibitor, and the key is to get it really coated on the back side as well as the front. We're trying to sort of seal off that metal to interrupt that chemical reaction of rust. So really apply that rust inhibitor thoroughly inside and out. We kind of removed some of the interior panels to clear the pinch flange, and we're ready for installation.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to grab one end, you'll grab the other, and we'll walk this over. It seems fairly straightforward, but talk to me about some tips here.
Yeah, each one kind of goes on its own special way. On these F-150s, we kind of start below and then rock it into place, being careful to kind of tuck it right underneath this rear door. And we start back a little ways, we'll get it up into place, and then I'll have you hold it there.
Sure.
And I'm going to come around and we'll tuck it under the front fender here. We're just going to pull down slightly on this front fender and just push it forward. Yep.
Beauty. Nice. Okay.
And I'm going to grab this cab corner back here. I'm going to slide it your way just a little bit. And I'm going to kind of just fold this in, being mindful that I'm not scratching the paint. We'll get close there and then actually reach up from behind and I'll pull this tab a little bit.
Okay.
While pressing on it. And we should be able to just kind of slop right up into place.
Nice, look at that. So once we have it obviously set up in this kind of mock position, how do we actually secure it?
Yeah, so we've got tape that's pre-taped across the top and along the front there. Before we do that, we're going to close the door and check fitment. We're going to hold it in place with some vice grips, and then we're going to pull all the tape. We'll come down below and put rivets about every 8 to 10 inches.
Let's do it. There you have it. Proof's right behind us. You know, you saw us removing the tape and kind of positioning the panel, but then after that, Zach, it wasn't rocket science, man. You lined it up, drilled the holes, chased the holes with a slightly larger bit, and then riveted the panel on.
Yeah, it goes pretty quick.
Goes really quick, and it looks factory fresh.
Always great to see our old friend Brian Loans. And we'll see you right after this break because we've got more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com still to come.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, coming to you from the Shade Wagon studio.
how do we get from the sealed beam light here to those new fancy LEDs? Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. We're talking about lighting and the evolution of lighting. Where did it all start? Well, it's right here with the sealed beam headlight. Everybody's seen these before. It's just the old sealed beam. The older cars had them. Couple plugs on the back, high beam, low beam built into one. You were good to go. After that, well, we went to the halogen headlights. Now, this is a composite plastic, kind of a unit that stands alone right here. And what happened is we took this halogen bulb and we just plugged it in the back. Where we go from there? Well, we went to these guys right here, and this is pretty cool. This is called HID, High Intensity Discharge. Big arc tube, 600 volts, bam, lit it up. You got that bright white light. And from there, well, we were on to the LEDs, the cool LEDs, the ones you see on cars today. Super bright, super safe. We even have articulating headlights. You can turn the wheel to the right or left, your steering angle sensor follows you, and the lights do as well. And that's a big evolution when it comes to headlights. Oil, they have their own evolution.
Yeah, it's been an evolution, that's for sure. From when we first started out in 1972 with the first API licensed synthetic to now has been a crazy ride. Now, I haven't been there for the whole time, but I've been there for a while. And just some of the small things that we've seen, to be honest with you, are packaging evolutions, right? We started out in a hard quart, and many of our products are still in that, but we saw a need for gear lube to be in a softer pack with a real easy to apply spout on it. Boom, easy pack comes out.
Man, that's a dream come true if you ever worked on any of those things with tight spaces to get into. Awesome.
Right, so from a packaging standpoint, we've done things like that. From an oil standpoint, I already alluded to it. We started out way back in '72 with that 10W40 full synthetic. We're up to a 0.16 for hybrids. We're up to 0.20s. We've got all kinds of cool technology because the market's changed, perception changed, things change. You have to change with it or you get left behind. So we're constantly looking and testing to make sure that we've got the best products available.
Well, you said it all. You want the best products available? Just go to amsoil.com.
My name is Paul Conrad, and this is my 1978 VW bus. This is a 1978 VW bus that I picked up in Lenore, sitting on the side of the road, and I thought to myself, that bus needs to be rescued. So me and my wife pulled over, made a deal with the guy, and this is what we turned it into. There's no Hot Wheels buses out there. They had little cars back in 1968. And I says, you know what, I'll never be able to afford or find one of those little Matchbox cars or those Hot Wheels cars, and decided to build a real one. We had to get the motor fired up, transmission work, put all new gaskets, need a little bit of paint touch up here and there. The interior needed some work. The ceiling was falling apart. The seats needed some touch up. The wheels, redid the wheels, redid the engine. It's just an amazing, fun vehicle. I wasn't even a Volkswagen guy until I started driving this.
How important was it for you to at least keep the spirit of the vehicle as Volkswagen buses were in those days?
Very important, because as you can see around you at this big car show, and this is the only Volkswagen bus here. So I do love that, being unique.
What kind of reactions do you get from this thing when you roll into a car show?
The kids go right to it. They're attracted to it. The mothers break out their cameras. They're taking pictures. You know, #1 photographed vehicle at all the car shows, Hot Wheels.
What does Hot Wheels say about the vehicle?
Hot Wheels calls it fire. They call it fire. They say it's hot. That's the new words of the day. We call it the bomb, or we call it sick. It's bad, you know, but they call it fire. They love it. And they love that we hand out Hot Wheels cars to all the youngsters as we go to these different shows.
Do you have anything on this van that's from steel rubber?
It's very important to have good weather stripping because of leaks. And when you've got as many windows as this bad boy's got, you got to make sure that you can control the leaks, especially with louvered windows. And that is why we love steel rubber.
Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. body parts online store. Cell phone seat, hands-free, is now hassle-free. And Shockwave Motors, we make electric vehicles cool.
Motorhead Garage is presented by DragonFireTools.com. You know, just a few years ago, there was a study, and it said that humans can distinguish between over 1 trillion different odors. And of course, when it comes to cars, that can be good. As motorheads, we love the scent of racing fuel, we love burning rubber, and who doesn't love that new car smell? But bad odors can ruin a good time in any vehicle. Just think about it. Mold and mildew in an RV or a boat, pet odors, old food, especially if you have little kids like I do, or the worst, cigarette or cigar smoke. Air fresheners and sprays just mask the odor, and you end up with the smell of strawberries and smoke or lemon and mildew. It's super gross. Those sprays and air fresheners never actually take care of the problem. But Dead Scent is different. Dead Scent actually eliminates odors at the source. Now, I won't get into the weeds with the science, but when you activate Dead Scent, it produces environmentally safe chlorine dioxide. Those chlorine dioxide molecules actually break up the odor molecules and eliminate the bad scent on the spot. Now, I know what you're asking. Dead Scent is safe for people. It's safe for pets. It is safe for the environment. The package is even recyclable. And yes, Dead Scent is simple to use in your car, RV, your boat, or your home. Scott Vestal, our head of operations here, bought a classic Corvette just a few months ago. It was in good shape, but the previous owners were smokers. Scott remembered that we had a Dead Scent treatment pack on one of our studio shelves. He ran one single treatment of Dead Scent and the smell was totally gone. He tells me that after the treatment, he aired out the car and there was no trace of smoke to be found. And I've been in the car, and believe me, if it smelled like smoke, I wouldn't have gotten in the first place. But don't believe us. Here's a review from the trash crew at the Buffalo Chip Campground, one of the main centers of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. Wally wrote to say that he used Dead Scent in the crew's trailer. Now we're talking hardworking folks who've been sweating all day and slinging garbage. Just imagine the smell in there. Well, Dead Scent completely eliminated those odors for good. You can find sterling reviews for Dead Scent all over the interwebs, and these are real endorsements from real users. Joy used Dead Scent after her husband forgot some hamburgers in the freezer for a couple of weeks. When they went to take their camper out for another trip, they discovered thousands of flies and the horrible smell of rotting meat. Joy says she was afraid she'd never be able to use her camper again, but Dead Scent came to the rescue. It completely removed the rotten meat smell, and Joy and her husband are happy campers once again. Logan W. had a leaky sunroof, and we know how that kind of mildew can smell really badly for a long time. Well, not after using Dead Scent. And finally, Flo K. has a yacht that stayed sealed up for 2 years, and just imagine what that smelled like. Flo followed the instructions, and she used Dead Scent, and the smell is history. You can find tons of testimonials just like those at deadscent.com. Everything you need to treat even the most offensive odors comes in one package, and there are different sizes depending on what type or size vehicle you are treating. Dead Scent couldn't be easier to use. Check this out. If you can, first of all, you park your vehicle in the shade or you wait till there's no direct sunlight on it. Probably a good idea to lay down a towel before you start the treatment. Then you just open the clamshell and take everything out of the package, pour in some water, fill it right up to the fill line, and you are almost done. Now, take the treatment packet and place it blue side down in the water. That's really important. You'll see it start to react immediately. You just exit and close the space, whether it's a room, a car, an RV, or a boat, and you just wait overnight or for about 6 hours, and you'll be all set. When you come back, just open the windows and air out the space, and you are done. You'll smell the Dead Scent, which has a clean, maybe slightly salty smell to it, but not for long. Once you air out the vehicle or the room, you will not smell a thing. Pet odors, body odors, vomit, pet accidents, smoke, all gone. And that's because Dead Scent doesn't mask anything. It eliminates the odors right at the source. I mentioned that I have kids who drop food in the car, which can get stinky. And at last count, we also have about 1 trillion cats. They love it in the den, and sometimes they even find the litter box. But for the times when they don't, Dead Scent has Ultimate Enzyme Spray. You can buy it in 2 different sizes. I'm going to see if I can buy a tanker truck of it. Actually, a little goes a long way. Dead Scent's Ultimate Enzyme Spray uses special microbes to target urine and other organic odors, and the enzymes in the spray eliminate odors right at the source. You will not be able to smell them anymore. It's so good that your pets will even be unlikely to return to the spot again to do their thing or to mark their territory in the first place. Yes, the Ultimate Enzyme Spray is safe to use around your pets. It's safe for the environment. You can use it on pavement, gravel, walls, fake grass, and of course carpets and furniture. But it's not just for pet odors. Parents and daycare workers, you know what kind of smells I'm talking about. And the Ultimate Enzyme Spray is great for trash cans, dumpsters, and even that fridge or garbage disposal. You can read a pile of reviews online. Dead Scent really works, and with very little effort. Just think about how miserable a bad-smelling car or RV can make you feel. Take back your vehicle, get Dead Scent, and eliminate the odor at the source. Find it at deadscent.com. Time for the paintedautoparts.com Motorhead of the Week. It's Josh Fleetwood from Sallisaw, Oklahoma, just outside of Tulsa. Now, his 1964 Ford F100 has quite a history. I really love this. A relative of Josh's bought this truck brand new in 1964. Eventually, his Uncle Norman got a hold of it and restored the truck. Josh remembers being a kid riding around in it with Uncle Norman, Aunt Kay right there, and Cousin Becky. Now, the car left the family for a while, but Josh got it back in 2019 after it was promised to him by the new owner. Josh says he didn't have to touch the paint, but he made the truck more drivable with a lot of upgrades. He put a new radiator in it, new gauges on the dash, power brakes, fuel injection, air conditioning, of course, just to name a few. And he lowered it and put a new stereo system in it to make the job complete. And Josh has always taken some great looking trucks to shows through the years, but in my estimation, this 64 is the coolest of the bunch. Josh Fleetwood, the paintedautoparts.com Motorhead of the Week. And if you or someone you know should be our Motorhead of the Week, send us a note at motorheadgarage.tv and tell us your story. We're going to be back next week with more Motorhead Garage presented by dragonfiretools.com. We hope to see you then. So long.